This is Austin Liddy Limits, where authors talk to authors about books and the craft of storytelling. Sponsored by Blue Ink Review, because typing the end is just the beginning. Find out more at blueinkreview.com. The novel, We Are All Together, is the story of a 21-year-old rock guitarist in 1967 as he navigates the tumultuous times of the Summer of Love. A reading by Richard Fulco.
Hi, I'm Richard Fulco, and I'm reading from my latest novel, We Are All Together. This is chapter 2. In which my protagonist, Stephen Kane, travels to New York to meet up with his friend Arthur, who's now Dylan John, to put his band back together. Chapter 2, May 1967. It was 4 years later, and I was busking for my next meal in front of a diner on the busy corner of South. Sorry, can I start again? Chapter 2, May 1967. It was 4 years later. I was busking for my next meal in front of a diner on the busy corner of 6th Avenue and Waverly Place when a girl with hair so outrageously blonde it was practically white tossed a dime onto the heap of change in my guitar case. I cut Summertime Blues short and launched into a half-written tune of my own, one that I abandoned years ago when I hooked up with Arthur, about a guitar player who steals his best friend's girl. This next number is for the foxy babe with the really fab hair that falls just above her really fab bippy. She removed her lemon yellow shades that were far too big for her narrow porcelain face and knocked me dead with the most mesmerizing green eyes I had ever seen. She searched the loose change at the bottom of her purple handbag, tossed a handful, but entirely missed the guitar case. Despite having a receptive audience that were shouting out requests for songs like Groovin', Respect, and Somebody to Love, I helped her pick up the coins that were scattered all over the sweltering sidewalk. I stuffed a dollar bill into the pocket of my dungarees, shoved the rest of my earnings into my duffel bag, and packed up my guitar. We grabbed a window booth in the Waverly Diner, where we split a black and white milkshake and kept a curious eye on the window as a steady stream of pedestrians dashed by, eager to get cooking on Memorial Day weekend. How old are you, Stephen? 21. How old are you? Emily, nice to meet you. I'm old enough to know that, like you, I've escaped the confines of Midwestern life. How did you know that? I'm from Iowa. I bet you're from someplace like Kansas. Right again, Emily. What tipped you off? You're wearing a plaid button-down shirt and sweater vest. Emily was excited to show me the sketches she had been working on. So I paid the bill, felt pretty bad about skipping out on the tip, but I was broke, and took hold of her gentle hand. We strolled across town, down 9th Street to her basement apartment between First Avenue and Avenue A in the East Village. Emily lit candles throughout the dingy room and incense to quell the stench of turpentine. She lit a nifty handmade Navajo pipe with the red candle that was in the shape of a penis, and then passed the pipe to me and showed me her collection of charcoal drawings entitled Urban Decay. Broken down tenements, empty lots, drug pushers, prostitutes, and junkies. Art has never really been my thing. I just can't wrap my brain around it, but I was blown away by the detail in the veiny hands and feet of a homeless Black man sprawled out on a sidewalk in the Bowery. Although Emily had never formally studied art, she was schooled at her craft, at least from what I could tell. I know greatness when I see it, and this girl in purple hip huggers was the real McCoy. The young artist, who couldn't have been a day older than 16, cracked open a shiny new black book, and began sketching me, but didn't get too far before making a wisecrack about my clothes. Have you looked at yourself? You look more like a New York Jew than a musician. Her remark rubbed me the wrong way. What does that even mean? Emily ignored my question. She threw down her pencil and book, tore off my sweater and shirt, and tossed a strand of love beads over my head. She started bopping her head, digging my vibe, my long blonde hair, beard, and bare chest, while she attempted to capture the streetlight's reflection off my wayfarers. Meanwhile, I was hanging in a red beanbag chair, smoking the Navajo pipe and checking out her paintings of gray faces inside black triangles that were scattered across the floor and propped up against the walls of her studio apartment. The artist threw her pencil and book down again, pulled a sewing needle from a coffee can filled with spools of thread and loads of colorful buttons, and licked it a few times. What are you planning to do with that? I'm going to reinvent you, Stephen. Isn't that why you're in New York? To be something you're not? And what am I trying to be, Emily? You're trying to be a rock star.
This has been a presentation of Austin Liddy Limits, made possible with help from our good friends at Blue Ink Review, where typing "the end" is just the beginning. Find out more at blueinkreview.com.